What's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk about another dynamic receiver that's also coming out of LSU. A guy who was often overlooked by Malik Neighbors, even though he led the nation in touchdowns last season. He's a big-bodied 6'4" receiver who weighs in at 205 pounds. He has the frame to get even bigger in the NFL. He profiles as an X receiver who can serve as both a possession weapon and a legit deep threat. He broke out in 2023, and he's been flying up draft boards. I watched his entire 2023 season on tape and want to give my full scouting report. Let's get right into his strengths and weaknesses. Brian Thomas Jr. has the perfect size for an NFL wide receiver. He is a fluid mover with explosive speed, a big physical frame with long arms and an insane catch radius. He's explosive out of his cuts and he's hard to bring down in the open field. He's natural with the ball in his hands, but on top of that he has incredible ball tracking skills to pair with his long arms and huge catch radius, allowing him to make some insane sideline catches and incredible plays. He's also a very smooth route runner, one of the smoothest wide receivers in the class. He's extremely athletic with true home run deep speed. With Thomas's long arms and incredible ball concentration, he's going to excel in the NFL at jump ball situations. He's a guy that when everyone's covered, you can just throw the ball up to him. He has elite acceleration and awesome short area quickness for a guy of his size. He has big, strong hands, and he has the body control to contort himself and make sideline and toe drag catches. He understands leverage, and he's able to box out defenders for those contested catches. He's a big-time red zone weapon, scoring 17 touchdowns in 2023. But Thomas is not perfect as a prospect. Let's look at his weaknesses. He has the upside of a true number one wideout, but he's still very inconsistent as a prospect and is still raw in a lot of ways. He struggles with concentration drops, reading coverages, and finding holes in zone defenses. He also only produced for 1 year at LSU, so there is some question about him being a one-year wonder. His route running needs a ton of polish in the NFL. He has the skills and footwork to be a great route runner, but a lot of times he's going to stumble out of his break, miscommunicate with his quarterback, and even lose his balance on cuts. While Thomas has everything you want in a wide receiver prospect as far as size, speed, and athletic profile, he's not a finished product yet. Early on, I thought Brian Thomas had a chance to close the gap on those top 3 wide receivers in this class, but after finishing my report, Thomas is still a clear first-round prospect, but there is a big drop-off after the top 3 wideouts. I still think Brian Thomas is a legit weapon, and in a normal year could be the number 1 or number 2 receiver in a class. But this year's class is stacked, and the top 3 guys stand out. So how would Brian Thomas Jr. fit with the Chicago Bears? To me, he's a perfect fit if we don't land one of those top 3 wideouts. He has the size and skills to come in and start day one opposite of DJ Moore. He would give the Bears a big-time red zone weapon and jump ball target. He wouldn't have to be the number 1 guy in Chicago. He could settle in as our wide receiver 2 and even be the 3rd option on offense after DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. It would allow him to develop his skill sets and maybe potentially develop into that number 1 receiver in a couple of years once DJ Moore gets older. I think Thomas would be a great fit for Chicago. As far as comparisons go, I see a lot of Mike Williams or T. Higgins in Thomas's game. He has the deep speed to take the top off of defenses, as well as being a big-time red zone weapon. A comparison I like to put on him is Martavis Bryant as well. He has that intriguing size and speed combo with a ton of upside. I think a more recent comparison, I see a lot of Nico Collins in his game. We saw Nico take his game to a next level last year with CJ Stroud down in Houston. I think Brian Thomas is a lock to go in the first round, and he fits almost any offense in the NFL. He's a bigger-bodied outside weapon who could even come in and fill the role of a big slot guy. He didn't play in the slot much in college, but he did get some occasional looks there. I think he's a prototypical ex-receiver who profiles as a number 2 instantly in the NFL, but has all of the upside to be a number 1 wide receiver in a year or two. LSU produces a ton of fantastic receivers, and Brian Thomas Jr. is no joke. He's been overlooked a lot because of Malik Neighbors, but Brian Thomas Jr. is a stud in his own right. Overall, he's a fantastic wide receiver prospect who just got overlooked in LSU's offense. He has a lot of the same traits that Marvin Harrison Jr. brings to the table, but he's not as polished or accomplished from a prospect standpoint. If we missed out on Marv, though, I wouldn't mind landing Brian Thomas later in the first round. His 1 year of production and need to improve his route running are legit concerns, but Thomas should still be a day 1 starter in the NFL, and he should be a number 2 weapon his rookie season, and I think he will develop into a number 1 receiver in the NFL. He's an explosive, dynamic receiver prospect with the athletic profile and catch radius to be a huge threat in the red zone in the NFL. He has the size and speed that every team wants at the wide receiver position, and if he can continue developing his game, he will be a huge weapon immediately in the NFL. Brian Thomas Jr. is a lock to be a first-round pick. He's going to come in somewhere between wide receiver 4 and wide receiver 6 for me. Currently, I have him as my wide receiver 5, right in between Coleman and Mitchell. But I think Keon Coleman and Adonai Mitchell both have a chance of passing him up. It's a close race right now for me when it comes to wide receiver 4. And I actually think 6 or 7 receivers could go in the first round this year, and Thomas should be a lock. I think he's a good fit to go around pick 15, especially if the Colts let Michael Pittman go. I came into this eval thinking Brian Thomas Jr. would lock up that number 4 spot, but as I finished this scouting report, that spot is wide open for Keon Coleman or Adonai Mitchell to come in and seize. But this wide receiver class is stacked. There's so many wide receivers that I still haven't properly evaluated yet. I haven't watched enough of Troy Franklin yet, or either of the Texas receivers Adonai Mitchell or Xavier Worthy. I need to watch a ton more of Jalen Polk, Troy Franklin, and Keon Coleman. But there's other guys not even listed on this graphic on the screen who have a definite chance of moving up into the top 10. This wide receiver class is just so varied and so stacked that it's going to be really hard to put together a top 10, but this is the position I'm putting the most film work into this offseason. These scouting reports take me a ton of work. Please hit the like button for me, guys. Let me know what other players you want to see me break down. I should have Jaden Daniels coming up next. Please hit that like button for me. Stay tuned because I have a ton more content on the way. And until next time, bear down.